Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to class number 2. Now, I know these times are a little bit difficult, right? We have a lot of homework to do, we have other things to accomplish at home, time to spend with our parents, and all of that, right? But what's the best thing to do right now? Let's just take deep breaths, right? So let's just do that, okay? Let's start the class just taking deep breaths. All right? We're going to do 3. Ready? First one, here it goes. Good job. Now on the second one, release all that bad energy, all that stress, all right? Second one, here it goes. Good job. Now the third one, just release everything out and let's make it on an animal sound, all right? You can do any animal sound that you want, all right? Here we go. Man, that was good, huh? That was an elephant sound, right? Well, now that we are all out of stress, we're going to take a look at what we learned last class, all right? I sent you guys a homework at different pages of the book. So right now, we're going to go through them and through the answers of each one of them, okay? Now, we start on page 11. The first question says, identify who led the independence movement against the Spanish crown. Mark an X for the corresponding figures. Now, the answer was
the Creoles, because they wanted independence to abandon the Spanish government.
Number 2 was write the reason why this group was propelled, meaning why they wanted, to lead the independence movement. Now, on page 12, we have that answer.
Simón Bolívar, he thought that it was necessary to abandon the form of government in which all power was concentrated in a single individual, like a king or an emperor.
Now, number 3 says, identify what Simón Bolívar's dream was in relation to the independence of the Spanish colonies. Mark an X where appropriate. Now the answer was
Simón Bolívar wished to form a single nation with the territories that today make up Venezuela, Colombia, and Ecuador.
Now on the next page, we have 2 guesses. These ones you could answer any way you want because it was your own opinion. Now the first one says, do you think the territory of Ecuador in 1830 was the same as it is now? Explain your answer.
Now, I would have said no, because in 1830 we only had 3 provinces and now we have 24. Now, the second one says Ecuador currently has a population of around 16 million inhabitants. How many do you think it had in 1830? I would have said it had 1,600,000 inhabitants. And most of you answered correctly.
Good job. Now, on the next page, we only had a map and a reading of the population distribution and the birth of the republic. On the next page, we had 3 other questions. First one is, write the names of the 3 regions and their corresponding denominations as provinces of the Republic of Ecuador. Now, the regions were based on the previous map. Now, we had a little bit of difficulty on this answer. A lot of you guys had answers from nowadays, meaning the coast, the Andes, and the Amazon. But what we were talking here was
that it was divided into 3 regions: Azuay in the south central region, Quito in the north central region, and Guayas in the coastal region.
The second one is determine the following. Which region of the country had the greatest population in 1840? Now, the chart, we have it right here.
The correct answer is the Andean region with 85.17%.
Now the third one is order from most to least the ethnic groups by percentage of population in the region. Now we have the Andean region and the coastal region. And the correct answer would have been,
for the Andean region, it would have been first indigenous people, second Europeans, third mestizos and mulattos, and fourth Afro-descendants. And for the coastal regions, it would be first mestizos and mulattos, second indigenous people, third Europeans, and fourth Afro-descendants.
On the next page, on page 15, we have 2 more guesses. Now this is also your opinion. When we speak of a society, we speak about the social groups that exist within it. Explain what you think a social group is. Now, I helped you guys a little bit on this one because I gave you the answer.
A social group is two or more people part of a group divided by wealth and by power.
Now, the second one, you had to think a little bit more. It said, write a characteristic of the countryside. Now, we have two pictures right here that show us what the countryside looks like.
Now, what does the countryside look like? Does it look like this? Or maybe this?
The countryside has green areas for vegetation, it has rivers, it has small houses, and is far from the cities, from the big cities. So those are the countryside, all right? After that, we had a chart of the social groups at the beginning of the Republic, and later on, we had the mechanisms of subordination, which I explained it to you guys what was subordination, right?
Remember, subordination is giving someone or something less importance or power.
On the last page, it was number 1 and number 2, and it says explain what a hierarchical society is, which is, that's correct. A hierarchical society is almost the same as a social group,
but also is usually established in a pyramid shape and by importance.
Now the second question is complete the social pyramid with a characteristic for each social group. And we have the graphic here. We have 4 different groups, and our answers were in page number 15 on the chart. All you had to do is fill them up. And number 3 is describe the characteristics of labor relations in the countryside during this era. And we had concertaje and huasipungo, which were 2 words that I gave you the meanings for, and you also could find them on the previous page.
Concertaje is the labor relationship between latifundistas and indigenous people, which was based on wages, which were very low. And huasipungo, indigenous people's families who did not own land receive a plot of land from the landowner, on which they built their homes and cultivated for their consumption.
Now, after you're done with the book and the homework that was done, then I ask you to do a map of Ecuador. Now, some of you did and some of you didn't. Now, please make sure to send me the map of Ecuador, okay? You can send me until next class, but you gotta send that in, all right? The homework was to draw the map of Ecuador with 3 regions on it and 3 different colors for each region, all right? Now, how it's gonna work for the next classes? I'm gonna give you a video of the explanation of different things that we're gonna do. Of the next 2 themes, for example. The next 2 themes that we're going to have are
cities and commerce and regional conflicts.
Then, after I'm done with the explanation of that video, you guys are going to have to do the activities of the book. Now, there's no need to write the questions down in your notebook, all right? Only write the answers down, okay? So, for example, if it is question 1, I'm going to write the number 1 and I'm going to answer the question. All right? Please also just make sure to write the page number on top. That way you guys know in which page you are. Okay?
An example would be write page number 4, answers, and then number 1 your answer and number 2 your answer.
Also, make sure to send me pictures once you're done of everything that you have done in your notebook. All right? Send me the pictures, and then I'll grade them. Got it? Sounds good. Now, let's get started with our second class. Oh, hi kids. How's it going? This is really good, huh? Now you may be wondering, what am I drinking? Well, it's only the best chocolate I've ever tasted. And it just came from the tree outside my house. Yeah, that's right. You see, here in the year 1830, chocolate has a different name. We call it cocoa. And you may think, what does cocoa or chocolate has to do with all of this, with the history of Ecuador? Well, let me take you on a journey. You see, during these times, Ecuador already had its independence. And now, us the workers, we wanted to share our products with the countries around us. For money. Yeah, we had to survive somehow. So what we did was all the crops that we had, put them in packages and send them somewhere else. The word I'm looking for here is exports.
It means to send goods or services to another country for sale.
Now in the city that I'm from, Guayaquil, we are in the coastal region of the country. And we had certain products that we wanted to export. The main one was chocolate. That's right, our own cocoa. But we also had other ones, different fruits like bananas,
Tamarind, also mangoes, and pineapples.
we had other products like straw hats,
These were produced in Jipijapa.
and all of these were from our region, the coastal one. Now, our region was beautiful. We were surrounded by the river Guayas, and we had over 12,000 inhabitants. That's a lot of people. You know, we were all striving to do better. But we weren't the only city in town. There was other cities in Ecuador. Hi guys. Now, as you can see, there were other cities. Mine, for example, was Quito. And Quito was pretty big.
Quito had 25,000 inhabitants.
Also, Quito was very important because of its markets. It had a lot of markets with different agricultural products like fruits, vegetables, and cattle.
There were large animals such as cows that were used for meat and milk.
Now, Quito was suffering during these times. Yeah, we were struggling. And we were working hard every day and every night. But we had two problems. The first one, debt. But what is debt? And the second one was the textile crisis. Yeah. As you can see, I'm wearing a poncho right now. But we weren't producing many of those anymore. The British wanted to bring their own textiles into the country. So that brought a lot of problems. But there was still a third city.
This city was Cuenca, with 19,000 inhabitants, and was located in the southern Interandes region.
Now we in the Andean region, we had a more conservative ideology. This was linked, it was connected with the Catholic Church. And this was because we wanted to put taxes on all the imports that were coming in to our country. Now you may be wondering, what are imports?
Import means to bring goods or services from another country for sale.
Now we in the coastal region, we had a more liberal ideology. We wanted everything to be a little bit more free, you know, taxes free. We didn't have to pay imports or exports, whatever it was, because we were doing fine. Now, this brought a lot of problems between us and the guys from the Andean region, because they had a different view. They have a different idea of what they wanted to do.
Now, there was still a bigger problem between those two regions. How will they name the country?
Now we wanted to name the country Quito because it was named like that. We didn't want our country to be named Quito. No, how could that be fair? How could? No, this is fair. How could you do this? How? No, this is not fair. No. I don't agree with you. No.
Wait, there was another solution.
There was? There was?
Yes. The solution was to name the country after a famous geographical feature, a line that crossed its land that was called Equator.
Hey guys, well, that was the class for today. It was cool, huh? We learned that Sometimes struggles are okay if they help us achieve something better, right? The Andean region and the coastal region, they had conflicts between each other, but together they strive for something better, for the own good of our country. That's cool, huh? Now, remember that after you're done with the class, then we have to do the activities of the book. All right, this is your homework. Now, the homework is going to be from pages 18 to pages 21. All right, it's 4 pages. And remember that it's not necessary to write the questions down. Okay, just write your answers down in your notebook, but make sure to write the number of the answer and also the number of the page you're writing from. Okay? Now, last but not least, I have an activity for you guys. Now, this activity is going to be fun. All you got to do is sit around the table with your parents or grandparents or uncles, whoever you're with, and ask them a question about when they grew up in the past, if they lived in a countryside, if they lived in the city. So ask them a question about their past and ask them if they know anything about the history of Ecuador. All right? And then, while you're doing that, make sure to write a couple of sentences, around 5 sentences of what they tell you about their lives. All right? And while you're at it, have a good chocolate. Okay, guys. Well, it was fun to have a class today. Make sure you send me photos of all your homework and, well, I'll see you next time. Bye.